Hey guys, welcome to a new video where I'll be breaking down every single BRM 5 base into 3 different categories based off of difficulty. First we have beginner, which is they'll be ranked from 1 through 4 out of 10, offering an easy to manage challenge, perfect for newer players. Intermediate bases will fall into the 5 to 6 out of 10 range, where you'll face more of a more balanced difficulty requiring some strategy and planning. And finally, hard bases will be ranked 7 through 10 out of 10. And these are for experienced players who are up for a serious challenge and a good test of their skills. This ranking is all based on my personal experience and my opinions, and I want to point out that I'm not a professional 10 out of 10 ranker, so if you disagree, feel free to let me know. All ratings are ranked for solo players by a solo player who has had a lot of experience in this game, so if you're in a group, things will obviously be easier, so keep that in mind. For all of these bases, I'll be using my trusty M4, which has become my favorite gun for open world. I'll share my build in the description if you're curious. Plus, I've got some recommendations on what to bring to successfully liberate these bases. First, you want to bring 10 bandages and 10 dressings. That's all you really want to bring for now. Because you don't want to spend your money on pills. And then any extra magazines that you might want. Usually I stick with 8 magazines for my primary, 6 for my secondary. That way I know I have enough ammo to liberate these bases. And finally, my last part of this intro before we actually dive into these base ratings. I just made a community Discord, and I will leave a link to it in the description below. If you want to share some of your stuff, if you want to contact me directly, ask me some questions, maybe even be a part of some really cool videos in the future, join the Discord link. It just launched. I literally have nobody but myself in it as I'm recording this video. So I'm also looking for moderators. There's a mod application in there as well if you're interested. So yeah, let's just get right into it. Okay, so we'll be starting off with the beginner category of the base ratings, and the first one we're going to start off with is Kozlovka. I'm going to butcher some of these names, by the way, so if you're Russian, don't take offense to this. Kozlovka, or what used to be Old Desert, is the base that used to be Depot Stomping Grounds in the last update, now conveniently located as closest to the FOB as possible. For newcomers, it's a solid low-stress introduction to the game, but for more experienced players, well, let's just say it feels kind of like a stroll through an empty field. The major hurdle here is a lone sniper up in a bell tower. Take him out, and the rest of the base is pretty much a cakewalk. If you're a seasoned player, it's like playing a Call of Duty mission on easy mode. Not much challenging to you, just a simple exercise in clearing out enemies. For difficulty, Kozlovka gets a 2 out of 10. It's a great base for new players to get their feet wet, but for those who have been around the block, it's a little too straightforward. It's barely in the beginners category, offering little more than a warm-up. The next base is Depot, which is the tucked away base on the tip of a peninsula past Kozlovka, almost as if it's trying to hide from the action. Getting there without liberating Kozlovka first is a challenge, but not impossible. Just prepare for a bit of a detour. Once you're in, Depot offers a surprising sense of relief. The AI detection system is laughably easy to bypass, letting you channel your inner stealth expert as you pick off enemies one by one. And thanks to a current bug, reinforcements don't even bother showing up. So once you've been detected, and once you clear all the enemies, you're done. It feels like a Call of Duty mission stuck on easy mode, just like last time. It's functional, but not really memorable. Depot earns a 3 out of 10 for difficulty. It's slightly harder than Kozlovka because of the enemy count, but let's be real, that's not saying much. If you're looking for a laid-back experience with minimal resistance, Depot's your spot. Just don't expect it to leave you sweating or impressed. The third and final base we'll be talking about in the beginner category is Pashinko, the cute little compound nestled between Kozlovka and Scronic City. It's small, it's quiet, and honestly it feels like it exists more for the vibes than the challenge. With just a handful of enemies to deal with, it's about as threatening as a wet napkin, unless of course you alert the whole compound, in which case things can get mildly interesting. Its proximity to the FOB makes it a decent spot for quick XP and cash farming, but since bases can only be liberated once per session, grinding here isn't exactly efficient. Think of Pashinko as a warm-up a chance to stretch your tactical muscles before heading to the bigger, badder bases. For difficulty, it gets another 2 out of 10. It's not completely effortless, but unless you're making things intentionally harder for yourself, Pachinko is about as chill as it gets in BRM 5. Great for a casual stroll, but don't expect it to leave much of an impression. Okay, let's move on to the intermediate category, starting off with Les Delina. I think that's how you say that, Les Delina. The quaint little village that decided to get a difficulty glow up in the latest update. Located just off the main road near Quarry, it's the scenic detour you'll regret taking if you're not prepared. Skip the tunnel to Rogad, take the dirt road to the left, and voila, you're in for a surprisingly tough time. Before, Les Delina was a walk in the park. Now, the AI detection range alone makes sure you feel the challenge. It's not the hardest base, but it strikes a nice balance between a decent fight and enjoyable gameplay. With the increased number of enemies, the village isn't as much of a cakewalk as it used to be, but is far from rage-inducing. Overall, Les Delina earns a solid 5 out of 10 on the difficulty scale. It's manageable, it's fun, and it's the kind of place where you can test your skills without pulling your hair out. Just don't get too comfortable. Those AI enemies are watching, and they're not about to let you stroll in unchallenged. Next in the intermediate category, we have Quarry, which is the old faithful of BRM bases. It's always had its own charm, but Operation Phoenix cranked things up a notch. With 50 to 60 enemies spawning in, including a solid number above ground, Quarry decided to remind us why it's not just a pretty pile of rocks. Stealth? Yeah, good luck with that. The current AI detection range is basically, I see you and I see your hopes and dreams too. Once you've alerted one guy, you might as well send out party invites because the whole crew's showing up. But the real fun begins when you dive into the intricate mines. Tight spaces, plenty of hostiles, and that constant feeling of something's about to go wrong make it a unique challenge. It's not the hardest base, but it earns a respectable 6 out of 10 on the difficulty scale. Tough? Yeah, but honestly, it's pretty fun when you're weaving through the mines, turning enemies into XP, and pretending you're the star of your own action movie. I'm retarded. Quarry is the kind of challenge that frustrates just enough to keep you coming back for more. And finally, everything after Quarry is in the hard mode category, and we're going to start off with Scronic City. Alright, so Scronic is the base that's basically Quarry's evil cousin who decided landmines and AI snipers were a great way to say, stay off my fucking lawn. You'll be sneaking around like it's Metal Gear Solid, praying the AI doesn't spot you from across the bay because their vision is basically superhuman. And let's not even talk about the mines. You can't even drive your land vehicle past the road on the backside because the mines will destroy your truck and nothing flat. But hey, if you survive the shore crawl, the side entrance will welcome you to a stealth gauntlet that screams, do you even fucking crouch, bro? It's not the hardest base, but it's the perfect spot to test your patience, skill, and ability to hold back your endless tears. Not to mention, once you get into the base itself, it's not easy to keep your level of stealth as you traverse the streets searching for the enemies hidden on the streets and in the building. The streets, AI detection, and the buildings altogether bring Scronic to a 7 out of 10 difficulty. Scronic is not the hardest base, but it deserves to be put in hard, setting a decent baseline for the harder bases to come. Next up in the hard category we have Mountain. The OG Mountain base. Back in the day, it was the hangout spot for noobs who thought it was the ultimate grind fest. Honestly, it's like looking back at old Roblox screenshots, nostalgic, but also a little embarrassing. And fast forward to now, and Mountain Base is that glow up you didn't ask for, but respect anyway. If you don't have a helicopter, good luck, because Mountain's like, you shall not pass. My truck tapped out halfway up the mountain, so I had to go full mountain goat mode, scaling the side like I was auditioning for an extreme sports commercial. But let's talk about those AI enemies. These guys have detection ranges so ridiculous, they might as well have built-in UAV. Get spotted across the map, and they won't just snipe you, they'll call their buddies to join the party while you're just trying to figure out why your gun's recoil feels personal. It's not impossible, but they could have thrown us a bone here. Instead, they said, 7 out of 10 difficulty, take it or leave it. Welcome to Mountain, where stealth feels optional and frustration is complimentary. Next up, we've got the DOU, short for Depot of Unforgivable Pain, or at least that's what it feels like. You'll find it further down the same road as Les Delina. Just follow the signs and maybe your sense of impending doom. Depot is massive, filled to the brim with enemies who apparently graduated from the I see you first, I win school of AI tactics. Their detection range is so insane it's like they've got wall hacks enabled, and their coordination makes you question whether they're secretly running Discord comms. The place has that classic Call of Duty vibe, like a mission straight out of Modern Warfare 2, the OG one, not the reboot by the way. It's fun to clear, but only after you died about 6 times, learning that yes, that sniper across the map can see you, and no, cover doesn't always work. With its sprawling layout, enemies hidden in every nook, and detection range that makes you double check your loadout, Depot is definitely an 8 out of 10 on the difficulty scale. Challenging, yes, annoying sometimes, but fun enough to keep you coming back for more. Just don't forget to bring your A game, and maybe some of your boys. Next up, we have Rogad City, the mini-boss of BRM 5 bases, where your dreams of solo glory go to die. With over 70 enemies packing some of the most aggressive AI detection ranges in the game, this place is not here to play nice. The high buildings, each with windows overlooking the courtyard, feel like the AI equivalent of snipers saying, "We see you and we don't care about your cover." Reinforcements? Oh, they're not just reinforcements. They're a full-on army, showing up to remind you why you should have stayed in Les Delina. Every time I hit Rogad, there's a moment of existential crisis, and I think, why did I do this to myself? I've only beaten it once after about 10 tries, and that one win felt less like a victory and more like sheer dumb luck. If you're thinking of tackling this base solo, don't. Seriously, don't. Unless you've prepped for this like it's the end of the world, Rogad will humble you faster than you can say respawn. 9 out of 10 difficulty, because even that 1 point off feels like an act of mercy. Next up is Naval Base, or better known as the Docks of Despair. Hard? No. This place redefines hard. We're talking 88 enemies, open spaces that scream, "Please don't shoot me," and AI detection so absurd it feels like they've installed radars into their helmets. Case in point, I once took out a guy who saw me from what felt like another zip code, and boom, entire compound alerted. Thanks, man. Docks isn't just harder than Rogad, it's a whole new level of pain. Reinforcements here don't just trickle in. They flood in like it's Blackhawk apocalypse. And once they show up, there's not much you can do except accept your fate and admire the respawn screen. But hey, on the bright side, these enemies do drop more cash and XP, which is great, if you can survive long enough to enjoy it. This base gets a well-deserved 10 out of 10 difficulty. And it's brutal, it's punishing, but it's also somehow satisfying. Just remember, if you're coming here, bring your squad, or at least a will to suffer in style. And the last and hardest base is Fort Rogad, the legendary pain simulator of BRM 5. This base doesn't just secure its title as the hardest, it straight up flexes on you with 130 enemies right off the bat. Why? Because apparently the devs thought, what if we turned up the difficulty to masochist mode? The fun starts with 8 sharpshooters at the entrance who can either end you instantly or light up the bat signal for reinforcements. Take them out, congrats. You're now up against the second line of defense, a coordinated squad that acts like they're teen girls sharing the tea at their lockers in high school. If one of them goes down, the rest are gossiping about it faster than you can reload. And the next thing you know, 6 guys are calling reinforcements all at once. Solo this base, don't even think about it, unless you're speedrunning or rage quit. Even in a group of 5, you'll feel like you're in an unwinnable game of whack-a-mole, except the moles have guns, infinite friends, and a chip on their shoulder. Getting to the base is no picnic either. Ground vehicles and helicopters both feel like bad decisions once you realize how far out it is. Fort Rogad isn't just a 10 out of 10, it's a 20 out of 10 on the scale. Honestly, I'd rather pluck out every hair follicle I have and shove them up my ass than attempt this base solo again. My advice? Bring a group of 10 and a lot of patience. Otherwise, don't waste your time or your fucking sanity. This base doesn't forgive, it doesn't forget, and it sure as hell doesn't let you win without a keyboard broken. Or maybe even 2. Alright guys, you made it to the end. That wraps up my base difficulty rankings. Whether you're just starting out or you're a seasoned veteran looking for your next challenge, there's always something for everyone here. Remember, these ratings are based on solo play with my favorite M4 loadout, so things will vary if you're rolling with a group or if you're using a different loadout. If you find yourself breezing through a base or pulling your hair out, that's just all part of the game, man. I just want to take a quick moment to say thank you to everybody for the support. The last few videos have been insane, and it really means a lot. And I had a great time making this video, letting my creative and sometimes funny side shine through, make it all the more enjoyable. And I hope you had as much fun as I did making it. Had as much fun watching it as I did in making it. Feel free to share your thoughts or disagreements. After all, everyone's experience can differ. And if you've got better strategies, loadouts, or tips, don't hesitate to drop them in the comments. And once again, if you want to dive deeper into my community, join the Discord server where we can chat about all things BRM5 and share more strategies, stories, and laughs. Good luck out there, and remember, with the right preparation, no base is impossible except for Fort Rogad. Catch you guys in the next one.